March 11, 1938. We're in Austria, a nation at a crossroads, with the camera presenting us with the grandeur of the Hofburg Palace, the Vienna Opera House, and St. Stephen's Cathedral. But beneath this beauty, a tension lurks, whispers of political instability, and an emerging dictator across the cobblestone streets. As the music crescendos, mirroring the rising tension, we must prepare for a storm, a dance with Nazi Germany known as the Anschluss. But let's rewind first to where all began. Austria's dark dance with Nazi Germany. Have you ever wondered how a nation could willingly become part of another, even under a dictatorship? Today we dive into the story of Anschluss, the unification of Austria with Nazi Germany. Picture this. It's the early 20th century. Europe is in a state of flux, and the political climate in Austria and Germany is tumultuous. Austria, once a grand empire, is struggling economically and socially, and its citizens are disillusioned. Across the border, Nazi Germany, under the rule of Austrian-born Adolf Hitler, is gaining strength and influence. Enter the Anschluss, a term that literally means connection or joining in German. Hitler, always the opportunist, saw in Austria's instability a chance to expand his Third Reich. But it was more than just political maneuvering. Hitler held a personal desire to bring his homeland into the fold of his Nazi empire. He believed that the German-speaking people of Austria should be part of Germany, not a separate entity. Austria's leaders, unable to resist the pressure from Hitler and his Nazi party, eventually caved in. And on March 12, 1938, German troops marched into Austria unopposed. What's surprising, however, is that many Austrians welcomed this. A subsequent plebiscite showed that almost 99% of Austrian voters were in favor of the Union, so Austria became a part of Nazi Germany, not by force but by popular vote. But what happened next? As a part of Nazi Germany, Austria wasn't a bystander in World War II, it was on the front lines. Let's delve into Austria's role in the war. With the Anschluss, Austria was no longer an independent nation. Its resources, both human and natural, were now at the disposal of the Reich. Thousands of Austrian men were drafted into the German army, fighting in battles all over Europe, North Africa, and even as far as the Eastern Front. Some would rise through the ranks, becoming high-ranking officials in the Nazi regime. But the war was not just fought on the battlefields. Austria's industries were harnessed for the German war machine. Factories that once produced everyday goods were now churning out tanks, planes, and munitions. Austrian farms fed the German troops, while Austrian miners dug for the metals needed to keep the war machine running. As the war dragged on, Austria became a battlefield. Key cities became targets for Allied bombings, designed to cripple the German war effort. Vienna, Graz, Linz, none were spared the destruction. The once vibrant cities were reduced to rubble, their historic buildings and monuments destroyed, their citizens left homeless. Yet, amidst the devastation, there were glimmers of hope. Austrians were not unanimous in their support for the Nazi regime. Some risked their lives to resist, whether by helping Jews escape, spreading anti-Nazi propaganda, or even sabotaging the war effort. The tide of war eventually turned against the Axis powers. By the spring of 1945, the Allied forces were closing in. In a series of brutal battles, Austria was slowly but surely liberated. City by city, the Allies freed Austria from the grip of the Nazis. The war ended with Austria in ruins, but the Austrian story didn't end there. The following years would see Austria rise from the ashes, rebuilding its cities, its economy, and its identity. But that is a story for another day. For now, we remember the hardships and the heroism of Austria during World War II. In the aftermath of World War II, Austria found itself occupied by the victors. But how did it regain its independence? Following the war's end, Austria was divided into 4 zones, each administered by one of the victorious allies: the United States, the Soviet Union, the United Kingdom, and France. The capital, Vienna, much like Berlin in Germany, was also split into 4 sectors. This period marked the beginning of Austria's denazification process, a concerted effort to purge the country of its Nazi past. While the occupation was a time of hardship, it was also one of resilience and renewal. Austrians, eager to rebuild their nation and reclaim their identity, worked tirelessly to restore their cities, their culture, and their spirit. Austrian politicians, meanwhile, made a strong case on the international stage for the country's right to self-determination. Their efforts culminated in the Austrian State Treaty of 1955, a landmark agreement that ended the occupation and restored Austria's sovereignty. Signed in Vienna by the 4 occupying powers and Austria, the treaty reaffirmed Austria's commitment to remaining a neutral country. a status it maintains to this day. The road to independence was long and arduous, but the Austrian people's resolve never wavered. They understood that their nation's future depended on their ability to face the past, learn from it, and move forward. And so Austria emerged from the ashes of World War II, a free and independent nation once again.